Coming up, we'll take you live to the Capitol where Governor Fallin delivers a message of hope. Teachers decide to try a legislative revolution, and the sign of traffic on streets make Norman businesses rejoice. This is OU Nightly. Governor Mary Fallon's office has been crunching the numbers, and she is speaking to Oklahomans today about the state's already frightening budget crisis. According to reports, the governor is expected to announce a plan to deal with the $1.3 million deficit.
The Daily Oklahoman is reporting the plan will call for major revenue by financing transportation projects with bonds. That would free up large amounts of money to spend on other priorities. The plan also would include eliminating some sale tax exemptions to generate new revenue. OU Nightly Stephen Kabler joins us live from the Capitol with the latest. Stephen?
Governor Mary Fallin spoke at the Capitol today regarding Oklahoma's $1.3 billion budget shortfall. She's been hard at work to find a plan that will stop the bleeding to this issue. Now, one of her ideas is to work with the House and the Senate to reduce or even cut tax credits, bringing in an extra $200 to $300 million. Now, we know a lot more needs to happen before improvement can even start to begin, but you have to start somewhere. And it seems as though one version of this reform will be passed because desperate times call for desperate measures. Reporting live from the Capitol, Stephen Kabler, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Stephen. And with increasing budget concerns, Oklahoma schools are struggling financially. More than 100 districts are considering shorter weeks or fewer days to save money. This would mean that more than 1,000 school employees could find themselves out of a job. Since January, Oklahoma schools have suffered more than $50 million in budget cuts, and deeper cuts are expected. Oklahoma City Public Schools, the state's largest district, said that they will cut $13.1 million to teaching and administration positions, and another $17 million in reduction to programs and operations is expected in the coming days.
And this funding decrease has frustrated educators across the state. Now almost 40 teachers have decided to try to tackle the problem from the inside by running for the state legislature. The 3-day filing period started yesterday and ends tomorrow, and even more teachers are expected to test the political waters. In November, candidates for all 101 seats in the House and 25 state Senate seats are up for grabs. One way lawmakers are trying to break the deficit stronghold is by taxing purchases made on the internet. One measure would require companies that don't have a presence in Oklahoma to send a letter to its customers. That letter in part will read, "You may owe Oklahoma use tax on purchases you made from us during this previous tax year." The letter then instructs customers how they can make a payment. The state estimates only 4% of online customers pay the 8.5% state tax. Supporters believe the tax could bring in more than $150 million per year, while encouraging internet customers to shop locally instead of online.
Well, today was not a great day to have a good hair day because walking out of the door was a little humid this morning.
Yes, the weather is up and down with the rain. So, Kaylee, tell us if this weather is going to keep up or if the rain is going to come back.
Well, you guys are definitely right. It was pretty humid out there today for the majority of the state. Taking a look around the state, we see humidity levels pretty much up in the 80s, 70s, the only dry spot being out in the Panhandle. All that rain that we saw was very good, however, for Oklahoma. And because those clouds are still hanging around, we are keeping those temperatures pretty cool. We're seeing 60s pretty much around the majority of the state, which is nice for this time of year. And that's good because even though there was a lot of humidity, it felt pretty nice because it wasn't very hot. Coming up next in Maine weather, we're going to talk about a warm-up for tomorrow. We'll look at those rain totals, and we'll also have a look ahead at a pretty rainy weekend. But for now, back to you guys at the desk.
That's good to hear. Thanks, Kaylee. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission has slammed the door on Oklahoma gas and electric companies' plans for rooftop energy users. The commission unanimously voted against OG&E's proposal to change the way it calculates fees for mostly homeowners with their own systems. The utility proposed charging customers $16 to $21 per month for having a small wind turbine for rooftop solar panels. OG&E says it currently has around 350 customers who would have to pay the fees. Alternative energy advocates say the charges are a ploy by OG&E to deter people from installing their own power systems.
And OU Nightly's Ashley Sanchez joins us now in the News Center with the latest on the Verizon picketers.
I hear Bernie Sanders made an appearance at the protest today. What do you know about that, Ashley?
Thanks. Nearly 40,000 Verizon workers are walking the picket line today. It's one of the largest U.S. strikes in recent years, and the strike began after the company and two of its unions failed to reach a contract agreement. The deadline was 6 a.m. today, and the workers have been working without a contract for more than 8 months. Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is showing his support for these workers. He appeared at the picket line in Brooklyn and was welcomed with cheers from the crowd. One of the unions, who has called the strike, is the Communication Workers of America, which has endorsed Sanders. Sanders says Verizon should come back to the table with a fair offer for its workers. And a Texas judge ordered the so-called affluenza teen Ethan Couch to spend 2 years behind bars today. Couch killed 4 people in a fatal drunk driving wreck back in 2013 when he was 16. He was driving with a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit for adults. His nickname came from the psychologist who testified for the defense that the accident was due to his affluent upbringing. That's what's happening around the world. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Ashley. And still ahead on OU Nightly, students are speaking out about how OU can do a better job of taking care of its environment on campus.
Plus, the recent Norman Road construction has caused a lot of headache for local businesses. Gomez joins us now with the Business Report. Lindsay, you have a story about criminals chasing criminals?
Well, it's looking more like hackers helped the FBI crack the code of a terrorist iPhone. According to CNN, the FBI paid professional hackers a one-time fee to break into the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino shooters. This was after Apple refused to help investigators unlock the device. CNN claims those hackers discovered an unknown software flaw in the Apple product and used a tool to hack into it. The FBI has not announced what the flaw is, and Apple said it will not sue in order to get it. And Facebook and Microsoft are claiming they pay both men and women equally. Facebook's head of HR reported that the company pays both genders the same across the board. Microsoft reported that its female employees make roughly 99.8 cents for every dollar that a man makes. Despite those announcements, a recent study by the World Economic Forum shows that the gender gap in the U.S. is worsening. And finally, in today's business report, turning onto 24th Avenue at Highway 9 is now a breeze, but just a few weeks ago, it was a nightmare. Construction forced detours, it caused access problems, and businesses lost a lot of money. OU Nightly's Aaliyah Covington reports on how local merchants were affected.
It was a bad slump.
Shree manages the Shell gas station on 24th Avenue, which endured a 100-day drought due to the reconstruction project.
We were so used to being busy, and during that construction, we pretty much didn't have nothing to do.
Once ODOT placed partial closures on Highway 9, the gas station lost 60% of business.
If it wasn't for the regular guys who were coming here for so long, they were still coming. They didn't like it, but instead of coming every day, they used to come once or twice a week.
And since no customers were coming in, food orders became stagnant.
I don't want anything that's going to go out of date, And we hardly sell any stuff back because we are that constantly busy.
Even through severe snowstorms, Shree said his store never faced a downfall that extreme.
Those days people don't want to get out, which, that's understandable. It was worse, like 10 times worse than that days.
Just a few blocks down, Wholesale Auto faced similar circumstances due to the construction on Briggs Street.
So they had the road closed before our business, and we had to negotiate with the guys to have them at least leave one of our driveways open so people could get in at all.
The shop also adapted to a new way of selling cars.
We have to rely more on advertising, and because 24th Street just has a ton of drive-by traffic, and that's gone.
But transportation engineer Angelo Lombardo said that business productivity is always taken into consideration.
But we will always make arrangements and modify the sequence of construction to make sure that people can get to at least one driveway of the businesses that may be in the area.
But until the construction clears, there's only one thing left to say.
Hurry up. Get it done. Please, thank you.
As you can see, the barricades have since been removed, but for businesses down this street, the impact remains present. Aaliyah Covington, OU Nightly.
Well, guys, I'm happy that the construction really is now complete.
Yeah, and hopefully those businesses can start getting back on track. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Well, today that side was on OU's South Oval. The Green Week organization gathered today to have OU students sign a petition about 3 major aspects they believe campus needs to change. The organization had a PB&J bar set up on the South Oval where students could stop by, make a sandwich, and sign the petition to improve OU's food, transportation, and use of energy.
Energy, we want more gold LEED certified buildings, which are just more energy efficient in general. With food, we want more locally sourced, locally grown food, as well as managing our food waste more efficiently, such as composting and such. And with transportation, we want more bike lanes and safer bike lanes as well.
And Green Week will present its petition to OU President David Boren at the end of this week.
One of the Norman North wrestlers accused of sexual assault took to social media to share his views on the situation. We blurred the names and faces to protect the people involved. He posted on his Facebook page saying, "I do find it funny. Me and my mom watched the video of the bus ride and it's pretty funny because nothing they say actually happened." After posting his opinion on the case, the local community blasted him, posting comments trolling the team member. After many replies, the young man said the alleged victim continued to come to practice and tried to be friendly with the team, but was still telling people he was raped.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, a basketball legend will play his final game tonight.
Plus, Kaylee will have more on what to expect from today's cloudy skies. Stay with us.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Kaylee Nix here with a look at today's weather. So the past few days we have seen some nice cloudy skies over Oklahoma, and that has brought a lot of rain to the state. Rain totals across the state are ranging from a little bit or from just over a little bit up in the Panhandle area down to 2.3 inches down in Ardmore. That area got a really good soaking, especially with the severe storms that we saw Sunday night into Monday. The drought monitor for this week, the majority of those rains have helped alleviate some of the drought that Oklahoma is seeing. Down here in the southeastern area, we see almost no drought, but up along the central area, we are significantly dry, and then up in the Panhandle, we are drying more out as the time goes along. However, right now out in Norman, the temperatures are 59 degrees under cloudy skies, still hanging around from those showers that we saw earlier today. Winds are light out of the east-southeast at 5 miles an hour, but that humidity is up there at 77%. Tonight, those clouds are going to stick around. As those breezes drop down, you're going to hit a low of 48 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. The rest of the state is more of the same. Temperatures are going to be around 40s and 50s for the majority of the state because those clouds are still hanging around from that rain. We're going to see 47 up in Woodward, 48 for your low in Norman, as well as 48 for your low down in Ardmore. Tomorrow, as you head out the door, we're going to see 52 degrees under partly cloudy skies, warming up to 60 at noon, still under partly cloudy skies with no wind. And then you're going to hit a high of 73 degrees with no wind at 4 p.m. Local or metro highs around the state tomorrow, we're going to see more of the same, 70s pretty much around the entire metro area, a couple 60s and some lower 70s as well. The majority of the state is seeing the same exact weather as we are seeing here in Norman, which is great. It's a good springtime temperature. We see 70 up in Ponca City, 72 in Oklahoma City, and 72 out in McAllister. Your 7-day forecast, we're going to see those 70s stick around. However, we are going to see storms push into the area over the weekend. 40% chance of storms on Saturday, 60% for a rainy Sunday, 30% for Monday, and 20% for Tuesday. So if you do have weekend plans, be sure to grab your umbrella because it's going to be rainy, it's going to be wet, but those storms are going to push out by the middle of next week, and we're going to see some nice sunny skies again.
Well, thank you so much, Kaylee. Well, I know it was a tough loss for the Thunder last night.
Yeah, and there were some star players that sat out. Chris Hubbard is here with some more.
The Oklahoma Bats stayed hot last night at Wichita State, and we'll take a look at the Thunder's end to the regular season last night in San Antonio. Sports is straight ahead. Welcome to OU Nightly Sports. I'm Chris Hubbard. Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, and Russell Westbrook did not make the trip to end the regular season in San Antonio. Deion Waiters did, though, with a posterizing dunk on Tim Duncan for the 2 of his 17 points. 3 other players tied Waiters with a team-high 17 points, but OKC could not find the offense in the overtime period and lost to the Spurs 102-98. Kobe Bryant played his last road game in Oklahoma City on Monday, but tonight will be the last time for fans to see him on the floor inside the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Bryant is playing in his 20th season, all in the purple and gold Lakers uniform. The 5-time NBA champion and 2-time Finals MVP is walking away as the 3rd all-time scorer in NBA history. Eyes will be on Kobe tonight, but they'll also be on the Steph Curry-led Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are looking to beat possible Thunder first-round playoff opponent Memphis and get their 73rd win on the season. That would be the most regular season wins in league history, replacing the 95-96 Michael Jordan-led Bulls. OU basketball lost 2 assistant coaches after the run to the Final Four. One of those coaching positions was filled today by Sooners coach Lon Kruger's son, Kevin Kruger. Kevin was an assistant coach the last 2 years at Northern Arizona University, and before that was a previous grad assistant here at OU. Hunter Haley went 3 for 5 with 5 RBIs last night as OU beat Wichita State and Kansas 15-7. Freshman pitcher Jake Irving got the win, his 2nd of the season. The Sooners are now winners of 7 of their last 9 games. The team heads to TCU this weekend for a series with the Horned Frogs. Softball hosts North Texas Mean Green tonight at Marita Hines Field. The Sooners are coming off a big series win over previously ranked number 19 Baylor. Tonight is the annual Bark in the Park game. Your favorite pup can come out to the park and enjoy the rolling Sooners tonight. And speaking of Sooner softball, sophomore pitcher Paige Parker's effort last week helped her win 3 awards today. She received USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Week, the ESPNW National Player of the Week, and the Big 12 Pitcher of the Week. She went 4-0 last week, pitching 3 complete games with 26 innings of work where she struck out 19 hitters with an ERA of 0.81. Big honors for 3 OU coaches, all on the women's side. Basketball Sherry Cole, KJ Kindler from gymnastics, and softball's Patty Gasso have each been named one of 30 most influential women in collegiate sports. This comes courtesy of the Sports Management Degree Guide. Kindler came in at number 15, while Cole was 19 and Gasso number 20. Kindler's team will compete this weekend for the national championship. And last night in Detroit, the Pistons were playing the Miami Heat when in the second quarter, Heat point guard Goran Dragic was accidentally hit in the mouth. The hit knocked out a tooth, which he picked up off the floor at the next whistle. Dragic might want to start thinking about wearing a mouth guard because it's not the first time he's had a tooth knocked out in a game. You know,
that just sounds painful.
It must have been.
Totally relate to him. My brother kicked out my first tooth. When I was like 5, we were wrestling, and he kicked out my first tooth. Is that not crazy?
Basketball's not usually a sport like that. You would think of hockey for somebody losing a tooth.
Exactly. I don't understand. It did hurt, so I feel his pain.
Maybe he learned his lesson and he'll wear a mouth guard next time.
Right.
We can only hope.
Yes.
Yes. Well, straight ahead on OU Nightly, a file-sharing internet service is using the money to do some good.
Good job.
I'm Emily Akins at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Public Justice added Sandridge Energy to a lawsuit involving Oklahoma earthquakes today. The mid-February lawsuit asks companies to reduce the amount of wastewater injected at disposal wells in hopes that this will reduce some earthquakes in the future. And police arrested a woman for arson at a southwest Oklahoma City apartment complex. Many residents were evacuated. One was treated from smoke inhalation. Lisa Campbell is being held on a $10,000 bond.
The founder of Napster is using his success for a good cause. Sean Parker is donating $250 million to fight cancer. The grant will establish the Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy. The goal is to increase collaboration among researchers and speed up the development of immune therapies. The project will include more than 40 labs and more than 300 researchers and immunologists.
I think that's really good.
That's always good to hear that somebody's making a difference like that.
Yeah, and using all that money to go help, figure out what we need to be figuring out.
Well, Kaylee, what is it going to be looking like for the rest of our evening?
So the nice thing about this evening is that as those clouds move out, it's going to cool down pretty nicely. If you're heading out to Bark in the Park tonight, 6 o'clock softball game, be sure to bring a jacket because those temperatures are going to dip down to the low 60s pretty quickly under mostly cloudy skies that are still there from the rain that we saw previously. The winds are going to be light out of the south-southeast, 5 to 10 miles an hour. And then as we cool down for the rest of the evening, we're going to hit 54 degrees at midnight before we hit our low of 49 in the overnight hours.
Glad to hear it's not going to be too bad.
Not too bad, and it's going to be a nice morning.
Great. Well, thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Have a good night.